Let's get rolling. All right. Well, thank you so much for hopping on, you guys. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Ashley Wiseman. I am a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, and mom to two. I've been in the fitness industry for about 8 years now, and it is just truly my passion. I love helping others reach their health and fitness goals, specifically women. I truly just believe that a foundation of a healthy lifestyle helps us live and fulfill and find our purpose in life. And so today I wanted to cover macronutrients because I know there's a lot of questions. I get questions all the time about macronutrients and the importance of them. What are they? And so today I wanted to cover what macronutrients are, what are their benefits, how should we track them, why are they crucial to our success within our health and fitness. I'm only going to take about 20, maybe 30 minutes of your time. I will be doing a live Q&A session at the end. So just want you live viewers to be aware of the chat box at the bottom. It's a little bubble that says chat. So I will be responding to questions at the end. If you ask a question while we're doing this, don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I just want to get it all out there, and then we'll do a live Q&A at the end. So let's start with the basics. What are macronutrients? So macronutrients, they're essentially the building blocks of what make up our food. These are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Everything that we eat, every food that we eat is made up of these three macronutrients. And then how we divide our calories between these three macronutrients and which foods we choose from each category has a profound impact on our body and our health. So it's super important that we don't severely restrict any one of these macronutrients long term, because they can lead to nutrient deficiencies and also a drop in energy and just kind of wreak havoc on our body if we drastically decrease any one of these macronutrients. Each of the macronutrients, carbs, fats, and proteins, they all benefit us in different ways. So I wanted to go through each of them and just talk a little bit about their benefits and what they do for our body. So let's first talk about carbs. Carbs are essentially the premium fuel for our body and our brain. We need carbs. I know that, the low carb trend or fad has been huge, and lots of people get results from it, but sadly, they also reap the negative consequences of a low carb diet, which means they're often low in energy and they can't fulfill the low carb lifestyle long term because it's just not realistic and our body needs carbs. And when I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about the healthy kind. There's a major difference between, healthy carbs and refined carbs. Refined carbs are soda, white flour, white sugar products. If we remove those from our diet, that's a good thing. But good carbs, such as fruit, which fruit actually does have quite a few carbs in them, but they're from they're natural. They're from a natural source, so they're good carbs. We're talking about vegetables. Green fibrous vegetables are carbs. Some of the starchy vegetables, such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash, those are higher in carbs, but they're still really good carbs for us. Oats, rice, quinoa, these are all good carbs for us that we should be including in our diet for energy and to strengthen and build up our muscles. So those are carbs. And next up, we're going to talk about fats. And when I say fats, I know it scares some people because it seems a little bit counterintuitive. Why would we want to eat fats when we're trying to burn fat and get rid of fat on our bodies? But it's very important to recognize that we are talking about healthy fats here. So when we talk about healthy fats, we're talking about olive oil, avocados, salmon, nuts. And I think the wrong kind of fats, hydrogenated fats, trans fatty acids, etc., those can be detrimental to our health. Those can clog our arteries, they can promote weight gain, they can wreak havoc on our bodies. So it's important to differentiate between those two. And I know that sometimes, we had the whole low fat diet trend back in like the 80s and 90s. And I think some of us just naturally still think that low fat is better. And that's not necessarily the case if we're including the right kinds of fats. The right kinds of fats actually benefit our bodies in a lot of different ways. They can turbocharge our energy. They can actually help us burn more fat. They can boost our muscle building hormone, which is good because we want to build those muscles to tone and lean out. They help improve our blood sugar levels. They strengthen our joints, and they enhance our skin tone. So they help for that beauty factor as well. So it's very important that we do not fear the fats. Super important. Lastly, let's talk about protein real quick. Proteins also play multiple roles in our bodies. They serve as enzymes, they serve as hormones, antibodies, nutrient transporters, but they are best known for their structural functions. They help build our muscles. They're literally, and organs, they're literally the raw construction material for our bodies, just like bricks are for buildings. And so proteins are essential to our health. So as you can see, all three of these macronutrients play a very important role in our health. And to, like I said, restrict severely on any of these, it can be detrimental to our health and leave us with some low energy levels, and it can wreak havoc on our metabolism. And so it's very important we include a balanced intake of all three of these macros. So let's talk a little bit about calories, because I think it's very common for people to assume that when they want to look and feel a certain way or reach their specific health and fitness goals, that all they have to do is eat less calories. And so while it is important to have a calorie deficit, which means that you're burning more calories than what you intake if you want to lose weight, that calorie deficit is important. But if you just keep following that calorie deficit and only count calories, you will likely hit a plateau with your results. You could also potentially slow down your metabolism, and your energy levels could tank as well if your calorie levels are too low. A lot of people, they think, oh, I'm not getting the results I need, so I better decrease my calories some more. And quite honestly, that will just do you more damage than good. And so it's important, calories are important. The word calorie is actually used to describe the amount of energy in food as well as the amount of energy stored in your body. So it's a very important thing, but it's important to understand that calories are just the foundation, but we shouldn't just stop there. It's important we start with calories, but there's more to that good nutrition than just calories. It's important to have a general understanding of calories, how much we should be eating. I don't recommend that we become obsessive about our calories, but I do think that it's very important that we have a general understanding of how much we should be taking in. And so to achieve all of our goals, we have to look at more than just calories. And when I say goals, I don't just mean weight loss. I do want to include weight loss in there because, yes, it is some people's goals, and that's just fine. But we're also talking about fat loss. We're talking about muscular growth. We're talking about just overall great health. We're talking about energy levels and peak performance. All of these things are very important in our health. And I would think that the average person would want to feel good, not only look good, but also feel good. And so all of these things factor into our goals. And balancing these numbers, so our macronutrient intake and our calorie intake, balancing those numbers is the foundation of delivering the results that you want. And so it's very important that we have a general understanding of these numbers. And really, if we are tracking our macronutrients, we're actually essentially tracking our calories without really knowing it. So feel free to take notes here because I'm going to throw out some numbers for you. And it might be a little bit whoa, overwhelming. So feel free to take some notes if you'd like. So actually 1 gram of carbohydrate equals 4 calories. Any gram of carbohydrate, no matter what kind of carbohydrate it is, 4 calories. 1 gram of protein also equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat, equals 9 calories. So if we are getting our macronutrients right, we should also be getting our calories right because those numbers never change. And in my opinion, if you're going to track something, it may as well be your macronutrients because I feel like that's more beneficial, to be honest. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about how we should track our macronutrients. A lot of people are like, well, how many macros should I be eating? How do I break it down? How many calories should I be eating? And all of those numbers vary. They vary very much based on your goals and your lifestyle. So that being said, an average macronutrient breakdown for a fairly active, healthy person would be 50% carbs, 20 to 30% fats, and 20 to 30% protein. I gave a little bit of a range there for fats and protein because just depending on your goals and kind of what your body needs, those numbers might vary. But look at how important these numbers are. A lot of my clients come into my boot camps and they're getting a more balanced intake of these macronutrients, and they never realized how much they were lacking in carbs or how much they were lacking in fats, because they hear this like, oh, low fat is better, oh, low carb is better, and no wonder they're feeling so low in energy or not being able to bust past that plateau. So it's very important that we have a balanced intake of each of those macros. So I'm going to go into some more math here. You can track and figure out how many grams of each macronutrient you need with a pretty easy calculation. So I'm going to give an example here. If you are eating 2,000 calories per day and you're wanting your macronutrient to be 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat. Now, let me be clear, this is just an example, so I'm not recommending this for everybody. This is just an example so I can show you the calculation. First, you would configure how many calories come from each macronutrient. So we're going to do carbs first. You'll take your calorie intake for the day, 2,000 calories, multiply it by 0.5, which is because 50% of your calories comes from carbs, and that number comes to 1,000. So 1,000 of your 2,000 calories is coming from carbs. And then 1,000 calories divided by 4, because 4 calories equals 1 carb, equals 250 grams of carbs. So there's your daily carb intake. Then you do the same thing for protein and fat. Protein, you do 2,000 times 0.3 because 30% of your intake is protein, which equals 600. Divide that by 4 as well, and you would get 150 grams of protein for your daily protein intake. Same thing with fats, except you would multiply that 2,000 number by 0.2 because 20% of your calories come from fat. You would get 400, and then divide that by 9, and that will give your total grams of fat for the day. So I know lots of numbers, it feels a little bit overwhelming, but it's super important to be aware of how we're fueling our body. And sometimes this discipline, these simple disciplines that seem like too much work, they're the key to getting us those results. So, and once you understand it, it comes a lot easier. Like now I don't really even think about, the specific number of grams I'm eating because my daily habits have formed and they follow the recommendation that I need for my goals. So that kind of gives you some calculations if you want to do it old school, I guess you could say. You can also use a wonderful tool called MyFitnessPal, which I highly recommend. I have all my clients use MyFitnessPal. And it's an app you can easily download on your phone or your computer. You can plug in your personal macronutrient breakdown and look at how many grams of carbs, fats, and protein you're getting. And you don't necessarily have to calculate. But it's kind of fun to calculate and kind of see where you're at with things. It also can help you a little bit with your recommended calorie intake, which I know a lot of people are get kind of stumped on. Everybody is so different. I couldn't just spout out a generalized calorie intake. So MyFitnessPal, it allows you to plug in your activity level, your goals, and it'll spit out a recommended daily number of calories. But also remember that MyFitnessPal does not take into account, it doesn't take account into being too low of calories. I feel like if you get too low of calories, then like I said, then, you can experience some of those negative side effects like low energy, a ruined metabolism. And so that's where like working with a personal trainer or a nutritionist would be really helpful because MyFitnessPal is simply a tool. It's not the answer. So make sure you're aware of that. So here's the thing, in kind of conclusion, if you want to burn fat, we do have to go back to reducing calories a little bit. However, dropping those calories, especially carb calories, can decrease our metabolism, increase our appetite, and leave us with little energy. And it's also tough to mentally follow a restrictive diet. And so, like I said, getting too low in those calories can be detrimental. But the good news is there's a solution, and it's called carb cycling. Carb cycling has been an amazing addition to my life. I absolutely love it. I've had about over 100 women go through my carb cycling program the past few months, and they have seen amazing results. Their energy levels are much higher than ever before. They've gained just a better understanding of their nutrition and why they're eating the way they're eating, how to fuel their bodies. And the general premise of carb cycling is cycling back and forth between low carb and high carb days. So we think of the low carb days as maximum fat burning days and the high carb days as refeeds. So we're rebuilding and replenishing those muscles and energy stores. So truly the benefits of carb cycling is numerous. Those carbs, they re-stimulate our metabolism regulating hormones, and more than any other macronutrient. So like I said, carbs are very important. Those high carb days, our depleted glycogen levels are restored, our muscles fill out, we have a little boost of energy, and it feels awesome. And we also, all at the same time, while enjoying those carbs, we're getting the results of a low carb diet, which is essentially fat loss, and while minimizing those side effects, which is low energy levels and a slowing metabolism. So to kind of wrap things up, if you have a fairly solid foundation and understanding of health and fitness, and you kind of feel like you're at a standpoint and you just need something new, I'd love to invite you to join my all-new 4-week boot camp. It's an online boot camp I'm calling Lift to Lean Boot Camp. We're starting Monday, August 8th, and which that's a week from this coming Monday. We will be implementing a carb cycling schedule with a mix of moderate to high intensity strength training and some sprints to really maximize that fat burning process. I will educate you on carb cycling a little bit. You'll gain a better understanding of how you're fueling and feeding your body. We'll have an online accountability and support group. I'll give you that carb cycling schedule, which will vary week by week, and you'll have daily workouts. If you've already been through my bikini boot camp or my carb cycling 101 boot camp, this would be the perfect next step. This is different than my carb cycling 101 boot camp. It's a little bit, I would say, higher intensity. We're really, really revving up your body to an even higher level of fat burning. Or if you're just kind of stuck in your routine, you don't feel like your routine is getting you anywhere, and you're just looking for something new, and you just want to hit it hard for a month or so, this would be perfect for you as well. So I'm opening pre-registration to you first with this deal before registration officially opens later this week. I'll open it on my other social media channels. The cost is originally $150 for the 4-week program, but I'm offering it to you for a $30 discount. So a total of $120. So if you would like, go ahead and email me at contact@ashleylwiseman.com and let me know if you'd like to join. And I will be more than happy to give you that discount and let you join in. So it would be awesome to help you reach your goals. Our groups are so fun, and the ladies just really, the community is just awesome. So it's really neat to see relationships built and formed, all while just trying to get healthier together. So I'm going to end there. I want to open it up for just a few minutes. If anybody has any questions, I would love to take those. For those of you that are live on the call, go ahead and open up your chat box and feel free to ask any questions, and I will be happy to answer before we wrap up. I'll just give it a couple minutes if anybody has anything. Are the workouts with your boot camp done in a gym? Yeah, great question. No, you can do them in a gym, of course, but I really try to tailor my workouts for people that need to do them at home. So we'll be using minimal equipment. You know, you will need a couple sets of dumbbells and a resistance band, but beyond that, we'll be doing lots of body weight exercises and then using those dumbbells. So yeah, great question. Is the new program going to have low calorie days? Yes, good question, Katie. I know low calorie days can be a little rough, but we want to make sure, like I said, we're kind of going back to that calorie deficit. And so if you are, wanting to lose some fat and weight, it's important that we balance our feast days, our high carb days with those lower calorie days. But yeah, good question. Anything else I can answer? So good to see some of you lovely faces on here. Amanda, Jen, I love it. Katie. Yeah, you'll prepare, Katie. I know. They're a little bit tough. You know, it does help to shorten that feeding window a little bit. It helps a lot, but I think if anything, it's very like empowering to just, because I think that eating can often be a very emotional thing, or it can be done out of boredom. And so that's another thing that is really awesome about these programs is it just helps you recognize your habits a little bit, which is very eye-opening at times. All right. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining in. I would love to have you guys join our boot camp. It starts August 8th, 4-week program. Feel free to email me. Carb cycling is so intimidating for me. If I didn't do 101, will I be lost? No, you're fine, Amanda. We'll go through the basics, and I am doing my Carb Cycling 101 boot camp starting August 22nd, later on in the month. That will be my final round of the year, actually, for the 101 boot camp. So it's up to you what you would like to do. But honestly, since you went through the bikini boot camp and you have a general understanding of macronutrients, you would be totally fine. It just kind of depends on how long you want the program to be and what your focus is. Yeah, Katie says it's awesome. So I hope that helps. If you're a little bit confused and as to which one you should do, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. So just feel free to PM me on Facebook or something. But all right, well, we're going to wrap up today. Thank you guys so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys later.